So today we're going to be building this YouTube deep research agent, which is going to help us find niche video ideas and the trending video ideas, which we could use to get inspiration. And then using this AI agent, we're going to be building this SaaS, our own YouTube research SaaS. And it is a complete full stack SaaS. There is authentication, database, and all the APIs and n8n agent configured. For example, you can see we can sign in and make our own account here, and all the information is stored in the database. And you can sell this SaaS as a subscription-based model. And I've also configured a Stripe link here. So let's start by building the YouTube Deep Research Agent. For this build, we'll be requiring n8n, the YouTube Data API v3, and Airtable to store our results. So let's go to the first step. So here on n8n, I have a fresh new workflow. I'm going to rename it to YouTube Deep Research Agent. The first step will be to add a trigger node. For this build, we'll be using a chat trigger. So we can enter our keyword for which we want the data. So we can research on that keyword and get the best videos. Now click on the plus button and search for YouTube node. And in these, go down below and search for the video actions and click on Get Mini Videos. This node will be used to retrieve video information from YouTube about the keyword you search. Now the first step you have to do is to set up credentials. So here you need the client ID and the client secret. To obtain this, go to a new tab, then search Google Cloud. Now you have this first link, click on this and head to console. Now we're in Google Cloud Platform. The next step would be to head to API and services and click on credentials. Then click on Create Credentials and choose the OAuth client ID. Then I'll choose Web Application in the application type and just name it YT Agent. Then leave this Authorized JavaScript Origins blank. But for this Authorized Redirect URIs, click on Add URI and head back to n8n and copy this OAuth redirect. And then click on Create. Now you have your own OAuth client configured. Copy this client ID. Then copy this client secret. Then click on Sign in with Google. Click on Sign in with Google. Here you can see it's asking for me to sign into my newly created OAuth client, and I'm going to use my Gmail ID to sign in. Then it says the Google hasn't verified this app because we haven't completed the verification process. We're just going to use it on our own. So I'm just going to click Advanced and click on Go to torianai.me. Then it's going to ask you for some permissions. I've already given it the permissions, so I'm going to click Continue. Now you can see the connection is successful. Now we have successfully connected our YouTube account and in general the API to our n8n client. Now we have the credentials ready and we're going to search for YouTube. Now we have the credentials ready and the research we're going to look up is videos, and we need to get many videos, and I'm going to, just so that we don't exhaust our limit as we're building the agent, I'm just going to select this to 10. Now the next step would be to add a filter here, and I'm going to do published after. So, and here I'm going to select, now I'm going to head to the community and I'm going to copy this code. You can pause the video and take the screenshot. Then I'm going to come here and click on expression, and then I'm going to paste the code. So what this code is going to do is it's not going to give us the videos published 7 days before. So we don't get the videos like year before, 2 years before, which were trending a while. We just need the new videos so we can look what's working right now. Now the next step would be to add another option. It will be a query this time. And for this query, we're going to retrieve it from this chat box. So first save the automation and then click on Open Chat. And I'm going to enter n8n automations. Then this chat is run. And here you can see Okay, so this gave us some random videos because we didn't configure the query yet. So I'm going to copy this chat input in the query section, and then I'm going to run the step. And now you can see it has given us 10 inputs, and you can see here we have got the YouTube videos, the only 12 n8n automations you need. So we have 10 such results. So now we have the YouTube videos. The next step in the automation will be to get the information about those YouTube videos. And for that, we'll be using the YouTube API. So click on the plus button and search for the HTTP node. So now I'm going to head to the Google Cloud platforms. And now click on Enable API and Services. Then I'm going to search for YouTube. Here you can see I've got the YouTube Data API v3. Now I'm going to click on Manage. I already have it enabled, so it's going to show me Disable API. But if it wasn't enabled for me, it's going to show Enable here. I'm going to click it to enable. Now the next step would be to go to Credentials and create an API here. So for that, click on Create Credentials and API Key. So now you can see I have my API key here. So I'm going to copy this. So let's configure the HTTP node. First, I'm going to rename it to Fetch Video Information. Now I'm going to be using a GET request, and you can see the YouTube documentation for it. Now the next step would be to add the URL. I've already copied the URL here, but this is a common URL. The Google API is YouTube v3 videos. And for the authentication, I'm going to leave it to none. Now I'm going to turn on the send query parameters, and I'm going to select using fields below. The first name would be key, and I would be copying this API key and paste it there. The next parameter will be what exact information do we need about the videos. So I've also made it easy for you guys, so you can just copy this, take a screenshot, and I'm going to select part, and I'm going to put it here. Then this is all the information we need. We need the content details, snippet, and the stats. I'm going to paste it here. And now I'll add the third parameter, which will be the ID, and this will be the video ID. So for which video are we seeking these information for? Now we have it configured. I'm going to run this step. Now you can see our information has been fetched from the YouTube API, and we have all the information about it, the likes, tags, description. And now you can see our node has finished running, and we have all the information about the YouTube video. Where exactly is the thumbnail stored? We also have the URL, and we have the tags. We have the statistics about the like, comments. Now using this node, we got the videos, and using this node, we fetch the information about those videos. The next would be to add a code node so we can filter out which videos are good for us. Once for all items, and in the code, I have put the code here for you guys, so you can copy it, take a screenshot. I'm gonna zoom out. So what this code does is it's gonna take the views, likes, and comments from the fetched information, and it's gonna calculate some ratios. One is a like ratio, which is likes by views, and the other is the comment ratio, which is comments by views. So the higher they are, the better the video is performing because the engagement is higher. So people are engaging more with the videos, so we can get those video ideas, and we can make them ourselves as well. So we can get those video ideas, and we can take some inspiration and make our videos better. Now I'll copy this code, and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to run this step. And now you can see I have the information here. I'm going to collapse it. I have the YouTube video title. I have the YouTube video URL, the like ratio, and the comment ratio. Now the next step would be to add a if node. So we can route items which have good statistics to the true side and the bad ones to the false, so we don't need that. So I made a change in the code. What I actually did was also add a views here. So I can pass it to this if node. So now the first value that we're going to compare is the light ratio. And we're going to change it to number is greater than. If the light ratio is greater than 5, it's a good option for us. Now the next condition would be including the comment ratio. If the comment ratio is above is greater than 0.2, it's a good video for us. And the third condition would be the views count. If the views are more than 1,000, that would be a good condition for us. And now I'm going to run it. And let's see. So now it's giving us one item, but we enter 10. So let's debug it. So it just gave us one item. And even here, it gave us just one item. So, okay, so it's running once for all items. We want to run it once for each item. And now if we run it, you're going to see we have 10. We have calculated the like, view, comment ratio for each of them. And now I'm going to run this command. And here you can see the 8 are false, but the 2 are true. So the 2 videos which we have been true are the best performing videos in the last few days. Okay. So now this automation is working. So the next step would be to remove the duplicates. Sometimes this automation have a habit of fetching videos which are the same. So we don't want that. So I'm going to add a duplicate node and search for remove duplicates. And I'm going to search the remove items repeated within current input and compare all fields to it. And you can see none of our 2 inputs were repeated. So I'm going to put it here. Now in this automation, next we will verify if the videos we got are in English. And if we want the videos in some other language, for example, you're targeting niche markets, you can actually go here and put in different filters. For example, you have this region code here, which you can use to target a specific country. I just want it in English, so I'm just going to add a basic chain LLM, and I'm going to connect the open router. And this time I'm going to select the DeepSeek free because we just want to run it, or maybe DeepSeek chat. And then, so now let's configure this basic LLM chain. So in the prompt message, I'm going to enter the title. So it knows the title and it can say which language it's in. And in this message, I'm going to put a user prompt and the message would be copied from here. And you can see that it's just going to tell us yes or no. And let's run it. And it has yes for both of them. So both of the videos are in English. Now we have our videos ready. So the next step would be to filter this input. So if this text is equal to yes, we can let it go through. And if it's not, we can stop it. For example, it's in Spanish, then it's going to return no, and we won't let it go through. We have our videos ready. The next step would be to create a record in the Airtable. So I have this Airtable personal access token. I can also show you how you can do this. So click on Google and search for Airtable. Then go here. Then I'm going to click on this icon, which is the user icon, then select Builders Hub. And here you can create the personal access token. As you can see, I'm going to click on Create Token, and I'm just going to name it YT Agent. And I'm going to add the scope. So for example, it can read records, create bases, write bases. I'm just going to select this, and I'm going to select read schema bases as well. And then I think that would be all. And then I'm going to select add a base and like, I'm just going to select all resources. And then I'm going to create the token. Now I have this token ready. So I can just go back here and create credentials and put this token here. And you can see it's going to verify that it's working. So now I'll go and create a new base. I can go to the main page. And then I'm going to make a base called base from scratch. Select the word space. I'm going to select Dorian AI. And I'm going to name it YT agent. And then, so let's see what exactly we need. We need to create a record. Okay. So each of these tables or this small database is called a base, and the records are the one which go inside this. For example, 1, 2, 3. That's like the Airtable language, how they name their things. So the operation would be to create, and I'm going to select a base. So it's going to search for all the bases, and I just made the YouTube agent, and then table. It probably will have only one, so table 1, because I just have one table here. If I made more, it's going to show more. Now the next would be map each of them. And also, I think I should do this. I'm going to call this video named and like ratio, comment ratio, and view count. And that's all the information we need. Video URL. And you should also change these types. For example, we're entering a URL, so I'm going to select URL here. And views would be a single line text. Comment ratio will be a number. And I'm going to select number here. Then I'm going to select the like ratio, the number as well. Okay, so we have it configured. So let's go to Airtable, and then what I'll do is reselect it. So if refetches the information, oh, you have this button here. I'm just going to click it. And now you can see it shows us video name, like ratio, comment ratio, view, and video URL. And now we can map each of these information here. So the video name would be this. YouTube URL would be this. And like ratio would go here. Comment ratio would go here. And the views would go here. And we have it ready. So now I'm just going to test it. And it says, perhaps check your credentials. Okay. Invalid permissions. So what this means is that everything is fine except we didn't do the scopes right. So let's go to Builders Hub again and click on YT agent. And let's see the scope. I'll just add a base. So I'm going to add this base here and schema, data records right, schema right. And I think that's all. So let's go back and test the step. I added the base specifically. Okay, so now let's run it again. And now the node is executing, and you can see your request is invalid. And then let's see the details. Field view cannot accept the provided value. Consider using typecast option. So let's see what exactly are we doing. In the field value, we're using this, and you can see it's a number. The hash means a number. And let's go back to our okay. And the view is a single line text here. So we need to put it as a number. And now we change it, and let's see, let's run our node again. And now you can see we have successfully entered these records in Airtable. So let's go and check it. Here you can see we have the video name, like ratio, comment ratio, view, and the video URL. But why is it not at number 1? Let's see. So we're mapping each of these automatically. Let's try to enter these again. And let's go and see. Okay. So these might be from the previous failed records when it enters something, but it didn't go completely through. So we're just going to remove these. Or maybe we can just move these 4 above. How can we do that? There you go. Now we have the information here. Our agent build is complete. And now we can save this to ensure nothing is lost. So now we have completed the part 1 of the challenge, which was to build the YouTube deep research agent in n8n. Now we're going to head to part 2, which is building the SaaS using the n8n agent we just made. So before we get into building the SaaS using the AI agent we just made, let's look at some of the working parts of a SaaS. What exactly goes into building a SaaS? So the first working part of a SaaS is the front-end UI. If you look here in Excalibur, you can see that you have all these interactions that you can do. Click on this hamburger icon and get this. Make all these items. This is part of the front-end UI. Then goes the database and storage, which basically means how is this page stored. For example, if I refresh this page now, it's still going to load the exact same, which means this data is kept somewhere, which is in the database. And you can also store it in the library. So you can store all your items in their database. Next part is the authentication and subscriptions. So for example, if you buy Excalibur Plus, here you can see you have to subscribe to their platform and you get extra features. And to do that, you also need to authenticate the user, which means are they part of your platform? Are they a user? If they are a user, how they are logged in using password, Google, or some other platform, and how are their subscriptions managed? And the last part is the backend of the API, which basically means how the whole thing is working in the backend. So, and how is the database being managed? That goes in here. So to build this, we have a few options currently on the market. You might have all heard of Lovable, which helps you make SaaS projects and is good for prototyping and stuff. But if you want to make scalable projects and if you want to serve it to your customers, this is not the best solution yet. And that is for a few reasons. For example, let's go to Lovable and check it out. So if you go here, I'm just going to sign in and I'm going to sign in using Google. So now it's going to give us some options. I'm going to sign in using my email and continue and move forward, submit. So now let's see. I'm in the Lovable platform. Let's build something. I'm going to ask it to build a fitness tracker. Build me a fitness tracker SaaS. So now I've given it the prompt and let's see what exactly is it doing. So here we saw what are the main problems. So here you can see the main con with this platform, which is it does not use a full stack framework like NextJS. NextJS currently, for those who don't know, is the most popular framework right now to build web applications. It combines the client side and the server side together. You don't have to write extra API calls to another platform or another server you're using. It has everything in one place. You can just create an API route and use your APIs. So let's see what exactly does Lovable do. So let's see the code viewer if it's already there. And now you can see. So this is the stack that Lovable uses. Let's see and read the package of JSON. It's using the Vite and it's using the React router, which is the main issue, which makes it not beginner friendly or as much as not the Next.js is. Next.js is super beginner friendly, but this is going to have some issues if you make the API request and all of that. So let's see what exactly is Lovable using to run their platform. and I'm going to click on, okay, so I'm back on the Lovable platform, and you can see it didn't build us anything yet. So let's try to fix it. It's probably going to fix it, but it's still annoying. And now I'm going to tell you some points, and then you'll see what exactly I mean. For example, you've already seen it's not working here, but as we move forward, you'll see what you need to do and why you need to do that. So let's see if Lovable have fixed the error. Hopefully it has. And there we go. Now this is good. It has fixed the error. You can see some workouts, some profiles, and we have a small working demo. But now, if you do the authentication and build a complete SaaS, this might be a headache. You can also see there's a Supabase button, which would make it a slight bit easier. But essentially, in the current state of AI, you have to, even if you want to scale your SaaS, you need to manually do some things, and even to prompt it. This tech stack is not favorable for that, especially for beginners. If it was NextJS, this would have been easier. And let's also analyze which platform is Lovable itself using to prove this. So I have this special extension here called Vaporizer, and here you can see Lovable itself is using Next.js, which proves how easy it is when you use Next.js compared to these stacks where you have a separate front end, separate back end. So Wheat is just a front end framework or a runtime framework. So now you can see why it will be so hard to scale. For example, it has a separate front end framework, a separate router, and if you want to make a backend, then you'll have to do all the other things. And also, I previously mentioned that to build a complete SaaS, you need the front end database, authentication subscription, and the backend APIs. For Lovable, all these three are true, but the backend API is missing. For example, let's go to ChatGPT and let's even enter this. So what I did was go to Lovable and copy their package.json. And I asked GPT if I will be able to run the server functions and the entire backend. So let's see what exactly just ChatGPT says. It says your project is using Vite with React and TypeScript, not Next.js. So by default, it is client side only. To make server actions, you need to have server side rendering. So now you can see to have so it's great for client-side rendering. And if you're just using one API, for example, if your data comes from an API and you show it on the SaaS, but if you want to build a complete SaaS solution, this is not ready yet. So if you want to have a complete backend, you'll need another separate backend or the Vite plugin for server-side rendering. So that's why what we're going to do is not use Lovable and go with our stack, which is Next.js, Prisma, Supabase, Clerk, Stripe, and n8n. So let's see. So before we start building the project, let me tell you a few more things. If you want to skip it, you can just use the time frame to get to the start building SaaS part. But if you're new to coding, let me tell you a few things. Learning to code is the best investment you can make right now, because writing syntax is becoming obsolete, not knowing how to code. But knowing to code is an advantage. Let me show you an example of what I mean. You do not, for example, you might see this and you think to do this stuff, you need to know code. But you don't actually need to know code. You just need to learn how to read it. For example, let me show you an example. If you read it, you'll see all this stuff and you'll be confused. But in this, you should only be able to infer what exactly is going on. It says use server, so you should just be able to click it in your head that it's going to use the server, and we're using Prisma as a library. And for this function, there are a lot of things. You can see there's Angular brackets, promise, this, that, but you don't need to learn it. So for example, here, you just need to understand, for example, what this function is doing is that from Prisma, it is trying to find a unique ID, and it is trying to access this variable, and it's just going to return it. So you don't need to know exact nitty-gritty of things, like if there's a semicolon missing, colon missing, what exactly is going on. You just need to know this. And that is enough for you in today's age to know how to code. And as you know, there's a saying, 5 minutes of learning the code will save you 50 minutes of randomly prompting and losing money on credits. So as you saw in the Lovable example, it already gave us an error. If we're on a paid plan, this application is so simple. We didn't even give us any prompt. We just set it to build a fitness tracker app. It's still messed up. And if you make a complex app, it's going to mess up again and again, and you'll waste your credits. Then type, please fix this, please make that. And now you have seen that how easy it is. If you learn this for just 2 weeks, and you'll be set forever. So this is a one-time investment, and you just need to learn one stack and stick to it. For example, For example, for authentication, there are many libraries. There are 10 libraries, but you don't need to know them. You just need to know one. For example, Clerk, which is the easiest one. Even with the frameworks to build the app, there are many, but you don't need to know them. You just need to know one. For databases, there are many. There are MongoDB, Supabase, this, that, but you just need to know one and you can stick to it. And you can learn all this in 2 weeks. So to learn how to build complex SaaS, I also have a 14-day challenge in which you can learn the ins and outs of building a SaaS. And in 14 days, you'll be ready to build your own complex SaaSes. So let's start building our SaaS. For this SaaS, let's look at the first step. We'll build a SaaS UI using V0, which will include the homepage. So let's head to V0. I'm going to go to Google and search for V0. Now I'm on the V0 platform. So let's write a prompt. I'm going to say, build me a SaaS landing page, which includes pricing, testimonials, a hero section, and it is about YouTube research agent. Make it red theme. Now we have given the prompt to our agent. Now it's going to build our entire SaaS landing page. And then we can carry on with the next steps. Now it took about 3-4 minutes, and now we have our SaaS landing page ready. Look how great it is. So we're going to go to code, and now we can see we have our entire project ready. What I'm going to do is click on this button, download code, and then I'm going to download zip. Okay, so now we have our download complete. Let's open this file. And here you can see we have our project configured. So what I'm going to do is select these and copy it and go to my cursor and look at the folder I'm in, YouTube Research SaaS. This is the folder in which I want to build my SaaS. And I'm going to click here and click Control V so I can paste all of it. Now I have it all here. So before running it, what I have to do is install all the dependencies. So I'm going to type npm install -- legacy peerdex. Now it's going to take a moment to download all the files that we need to run this application. And now you can see the install is completed. Now I'll enter this command to run it. npm run dev. This command will help me run the application. And now you can see it's running at localhost 3000. So I'm going to go to localhost 3000. And now it's going to take some time to compile. It's starting up. And now you can see our website is ready. Now the next step would be to add Clerk authentication. For this, open Google and search Clerk. It's going to take less than 10 minutes. It's going to take less than 10 minutes to set up entire authentication. Click on the first link. Now we're on the Clerk dashboard. I've already made the account. If you don't have it, you can click sign up here. I have it already made, so it's showing dashboard. So I'm going to click on this button. Now I am inside my account and I'm going to click on create application. Then I have to give it a name. So whatever name I give it here is going to go here. So I'll just say YT SaaS. And you can select the login options you want. You can select as many as you want. For example, you can sign up using username, Apple, GitHub. I just want Google and email, so I'm just going to keep it that way. And then create application. Now it's giving us exact commands we need to set up the Clerk authentication. You can select whatever stack you're in. We're in NextJS. So we just have to follow these 4 commands to set up the entire thing. That's how easy it is. So what I'm going to do is copy this and paste it in here. I'll make another terminal and I'm pasting this here. Now it's going to install Clerk for Next.js. Then the next step would be to make a .env file and copy both of these lines there. And I'm going to make a .env and paste both of these here. Now the next step would be to make a middleware TS. And this is how you need to know where you make it. If you have a src directory, you have to make it inside the directory. If you don't have one, you can just make it in the root directory. So let's look at our project, where it is. So do we have an src directory? We don't. So we have to make it exactly here. And now you see the Clerk is throwing an error to us. So what we can do is add the same legacy peer depths here. So it's going to download whatever is the correct version for itself. So it's not going to throw an error. So it's compatible with all the other packages we have in the project. So let's copy this middleware file. I'm just going to press it here and make a new file, middleware.ts. And we have our middleware ready. And you can see the Clerk is also installed. It didn't throw us any error this time. So now we're done with this. And now you have to configure this browser page. So I'm going to click copy this. So this will go in your layout TSX page, which is the main layout page inside the app folder. Here it is. So I'm going to copy this import section, the Clerk one. That's the only one we need. And now I'm going to paste it here. Now let's look at what's going on. We need to wrap the entire application in the Clerk provider. What this does is basically, it's going to scaffold our entire application with the Clerk provider. So our entire application is protected by Clerk. So we can give some access to the users who are signed in or those who have an account and remain off limits to the people who haven't signed in. So let's first see where we have to make this Clerk provider. We have to make it at the absolute top. This has to cover everything. So I'm just going to go and make it at the absolute top. And now I'm going to copy it and wrap the entire thing. So now we just basically added a top cover. It's like a sandwich. Now we have sandwiched the whole thing inside this. Now we have our entire application protected by Clerk. Now let's look at the home page and see the buttons. Where do we have the nav bar? This is the nav bar that we have. Let's look at the buttons. Here we have buttons to log in and log out, right? So let's do a few things here. So now we have to add our sign in and sign up buttons. We already have them here, but these are not Clerk configured. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to go to Clerk and we're going to copy these buttons, which are all the Clerk buttons. And then I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to remove the Clerk provider from here. And then we have all the buttons here. And let's look at so here we have the button section. There you go. This is where we have the sign up and sign in button. I'm going to comment this out. So now you'll see our buttons are gone. Now what I'll do is make a div, and then I'm going to paste all of these buttons here, not these ones. Let's just go here and let's copy these. There we go. And now we can style these if you want with this. For example, if it's signed out, we can wrap this thing in here. Now we have this button here, and we're going to take this and put it here. Now our sign in button will be looking like this. And I can copy this and make it here. And now our sign up button will be looking like this new one here. Now let's go and look back. Now you can see our buttons are there, but they're misplaced. So to fix that, I'm going to do class name flex gap to. It's already giving us the option. So there you go. Now we have it configured. So let's look at the application. So now we have our buttons ready. Let's click and see what happens. I click on the sign in button and it's going to take us to the login site. So I'm going to use my Google account to log in. And then I'm going to choose the Dorian Bills account. And now you can see it's logging us in. It probably will ask us for the Cloudflare thing. And that's why it's taking so long. And there you go. Now we're signed into our SaaS. And now you'll see that you can see the user icon here. We're inside our account. We can manipulate it, change stuff, add email addresses. And if you sign out, you're going to see the old buttons again. There you go. So now we have added our authentication. Let's make a few more changes. So this is complete. So now we have configured our application. Let's head to the documentation and add a few more changes, which is to have a specific login link and logout link. For example, if you want a login page, let's do sign in. You can see there is nothing here. And whenever we click on sign in from this button, you'll see it goes to a Clerk link. It's not our own website. Now you can see it is not on our own website. It is on Clerk. So we need to make it on our own website. So let's go here. And then I'm going to go below and I'm going to do the quick start app router. We already completed this. Now the next step is to add custom sign in and sign up page. So this is what I'm going to do. It says make a page at app sign in and these double square brackets, triple dot sign in. This is basically syntax. You just have to copy paste it. You don't have to think about it. So just go to app and make a sign in page. Then make the double bracketed triple dot sign in. What this does is captures all the routes, then make a page.tsx, and then just make, and now you have a sign in page ready. That's how easy it is. But now we're going to do the same for sign up. We're going to make a sign up, and we're going to make another folder with the double squares, brackets, triple dot, sign up, and then page.tsx. And so you also have to do a few changes to the middleware file. Let's look at our current middleware. So our current middleware does nothing really. It just checks there's a middleware, but it's not doing anything right now. So what you can do is you can add a few more lines. So let's look at this middleware. This middleware is exactly the same except these 4 lines. So what they're doing is they're checking, is the route public? So whatever route you enter here will be public. And you have to make the sign in, sign up, and the home landing page public, because else the public won't be able to reach it. If you make the main sign in page off limits, then people can sign in because it is out of the reach. So what you have to do is copy this and replace it in this. Now I'll also add the sign up page here. We'll have to add it later, so I'm just going to add it. And I will also add the main homepage, which is located at /, which is just the main page. So now we have our middleware configured. The next step is to add .env file. I already have it, so I'm just going to add these 3 extra things here. And that's all. Now we just have to make a sign up page. I already made the route, which is the sign up route, and I'm just going to copy this. And I already added this, and I'm going to copy these environment variables and paste them back again. And that's all. We're done. So let's go and look at our app. It's at localhost 3000. Now you can see we have our homepage ready with the sign in and sign up buttons. And the difference is when you click it now, it doesn't go to a different URL, which is given by Clerk. It is on our own website. And this is from the page. For example, I can show you, if you go to this page, and you can also make it look better. For example, I'm just going to wrap it inside a div, and I'm going to give it a class name, flex item center, justify center. And now you can see it is in the middle, and I can also give it a top padding. There you go. We have our page ready. And I'm going to do the same thing with the sign up page. And you can customize it as much as you want. You can make it as beautiful as you want, do whatever. And I'm going to wrap it. And now you can see, now I can sign in. And now you can see we're signed in. And we can sign out and do everything. But now in our Clerk users, let's go and see. We have this Clerk account, and we can see our users. Now you can see the users who have made an account on our SaaS, but it's still not on our database. We don't have a database yet, right? So let's configure the database. So I have all the steps here. So you don't have to code anything, and you don't have to wipe code anything. So you tell the LLM and it makes a mistake, and it's going to make a ton of mistake doing all this. So you don't have to do all that. So you can just come here and take screenshots if you're not subscribed. So copy this command and go to here and paste this. If you see an error here, just add the -- legacy peer depths, so that is compatible with ongoing programs. The error happens because imagine you have so many packages here. If something is conflicting, it just shows you the error. So you just tell it, so whatever is there, install the package which does not have an error with that. So imagine if the version 15 has a conflict with some of these files, but 14 doesn't. So it's going to find it itself and install the 14. So that's what we're going to do. So it's installing the Prisma. So let's go. It's installing Prisma, and let's see what it does. There you go. Here you can see there is an error, and it is the same reason. It's not compatible. So what I'm going to do is add legacy peer depths. And now it's going to work. So let's see the next step. Now we have to copy this command and we have to paste it. And let me do this. Let me just copy this so I don't have to write it again and again. There you go. We have Prisma installed. Now let's click. Now use the second command, which I copied earlier, and paste it here. Now it's going to install the Prisma client. Next step would be to initialize Prisma. After this is complete, we're going to run the next command. And by then, let's head to the Supabase side and make an account. So Supabase is what we're going to use for the database. Head to the first link, and then I'm going to do sign in. I already have an account there. Hopefully it should let me in. There you go. It's installed. So now I'm going to do npx Prisma init. And there you go. It made a new folder of the Prisma schema. So schema is basically a user model where we tell it what exactly do we want. For example, imagine a table called user. And in that, there are columns of the things you want to store. There's a username, password, when it was created, what's the password, and if the user is subscribed. We do all of that using schema. So let's see. I have this. So I'm going to make a new project in the Dorian builds itself. So our project name would be YT agent. And I'll just choose a random password and I'm going to copy it. Then I'll just select West US and create new project. Now what I'm going to do is click on connect and it tells you what do you have. So according to the framework you're using, it just tells you what exactly you need to do. So I am using an ORM. I'm using Prisma. So I'm going to copy these two and I'm going to go to this. I'll head to the env file and I'm going to replace this database URL with these two. And now you can see it's asking for a password. So I'm going to enter the password I just copied earlier. And the password goes here. This is the password that I have. Right. So I'm going to remove this as well. This. And now I'll head to the Prisma schema. Now I've already given you the basic schema that you need. So it's going to store the ID, which is the user ID, the email of the person, the first name, last name, when the account is updated, when is it created, and this is the credits. For example, if you're selling an AI service and it's credit based, for example, you can get 100 credits for $10, and as the person uses the LLM or some service, then the credits go down. You can use this, and this is the has access boolean. This is, for example, if you make something, but it's restricted to only paid users, not free users. So you can put some command under this. So if this is not true, the person won't be able to access it. So let's just copy this Prisma schema file and head to Prisma schema. I've pasted here and now this is ready. Let's look at the next step. Now I have to copy this Prisma TS in the lib folder. So let's just go here and Prisma TS. And I'm just going to copy this client. So this is what interacts with the database, the Prisma client. So we just made that. Now we just have to migrate our schema. Now you'll see our database. So on our database, let's look at the tables. We have added our URL, but it's not connected yet. There's nothing on the table, right? So let me just add this command and now you'll see our entire database will be synced to our Supabase. It's going to take 2 minutes and let's understand further concepts. So let's look at how our SaaS is working, right? So this is our website and this is Clerk. Clerk sits here. So when a person comes on our website and he wants to make an account, he clicks on the sign in or sign up button, right? So after the person clicks this, a request is made to Clerk. This request goes here and after some time, it comes back in and it lets you log in. So the user is stored in Clerk, but it's not there in the database. So now what we're going to do is this. So we just added Supabase here. Now we have Supabase. So Prisma is just a layer which is helping us work with Supabase and it makes us easier. So now what we're going to do is that whenever a person makes an account, then we will also trigger a command from inside the application that the same information is sent to Supabase. So when the user makes an account here, the information comes into our website and it also goes into our database. So everything is synced. That's our goal, right? Now let's see if our Prisma initialization process is complete. Here you can see it has initiated. Now let's go and look at the database. Here you can see we have made the tables. We have made ID, email, first name, last name. We have made all things that was in our schema file. So this is how it works. Now let's look at the next step we have to do. The next step is to add the Clerk users to the database. Before that, let's run this command, which is to generate the Prisma client. There you go. The Prisma client is generated. And now we're done with everything. So now we're going to do what we just saw. We have this ready. We have this process ready. We have this process ready, but this is not connected. So let's connect this. Let's go here. So what we're going to do is wrap our application. For example, let's look back to the basics. Here in the layout file, you can see our application is wrapped in the Clerk provider. We're going to make another provider and we'll wrap our application in that. So what will that do is it's going to run a command. And what the command does is, let's look at this code. It checks if the user is authenticated. If it is authenticated, it checks if there's a unique user with that ID in our database. So this is what we're doing. Let's look at it in the diagram. So we get a request from Clerk. Then we have the ID. We have the user ID, which Clerk gives us. Then we go to Supabase and ask, do we have this user ID in here? If there is the user ID, that means both of these are synced for that user. So we have to do nothing. If there is no user ID, we go back to the Supabase and we create the ID using this data. We send the information here. So let's do that. Let's make the first file, which is providers.tsx. Let's copy this, and I'm going to make a providers.tsx here. I'm going to go to lib and make providers.tsx, and I'm going to copy this here. Now this is done. So what I'm going to do is import the same here. Import providers.tsx, and I'm going to wrap my application with that. And this time I'm going to wrap the children. And this is wrapped and then sandwiching it again. Now this is wrapped. So now this is complete. So the next step is that we make an API route. I'm going to make a user API route. For example, you can see the exact API route that is there. So it is sending it to user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a API folder, and then I'm going to make a user folder. Oh, this is actually a file. Let's delete this and make a user folder, which will act as a route, and then make a route.ts file. It should be ts. And I'm going to copy this here. So now this is done. And the next step is to use this action to register user to our database. So what I'm going to do now is lib actions is user. Lib, I'm going to make an actions folder, and then I'm going to make is user.ts. So this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to re-import it, import Prisma from, and I think we have to put it in this bracket. There you go. Okay, so now everything is working. What we can do is look at our database, right? This is our database, right? So in users, we have nothing. We logged in using our email address. There was nothing. But now let's log in again. Now I'm going to click sign in. And then it's going to show me the sign in page. Now I'm going to click continue with Google. And now let's refresh and see. Now you can see we are logged in, and also let's check our Supabase account. I'm going to refresh the page. And now you can see we have a user here. The ID, email, first name, last name. And it is the same as Clerk. Let's go and check. So this is the account, and you can see the user ID is 2WXM. And here you can see it's correctly syncing. So now we have our users connected to the database. We have completed this cycle. Now we have built the UI for our SaaS and also added the Clerk authentication system. Then I also added the Prisma and the Supabase in our system. So now we have all these things checked out. So we have done our front end, we have done this part, and we have done the authentication part. Now we'll do the subscription part. So let's go and set up the Stripe payments. For this project, I'm going to configure this button only. I'm going to configure the Pro plan. I'm going to leave these because it's just rinse and repeat. You just do it for once. And once you can do it for one, you can do it for the others as well. So let's go and head to a new tab and search for Stripe. Then I'm going to the official website. Then I've already logged in, so I'm going to go to dashboard. Here we have the dashboard. To switch to the test mode, go and click on this button and search for switch to sandbox and select test mode. Now the next step would be to add Stripe to our SaaS. So let's go and copy this command from here. You can copy these commands or take screenshots for the longer ones. So I'm going to go here and open another terminal and paste it here. It might have the same issue, then I'll have to do the legacy peer depths. Okay, so I'll have to do it again. Legacy peer depths. So in the meantime, let's copy the second command, which is this. This command is only for TypeScript. If you're not using TypeScript, you don't have to install this. So I'm going to do again, legacy peer depths, which basically means that we're selecting the version which is compatible with our other libraries. So now we have added Stripe. The next thing is we have to add the webhook, we have to add the checkout route, and we have to add the checkout component. So I'm going to make that. So let's build a checkout button. So what I'm going to do is go to components and make a new button called checkout button.tsx. And I am going to make a button here. So checkout button and import button. I'm gonna import button from the ShadCN UI, and I'll also have to configure the Stripe environment variables. So let's go and do that. I'm going to the Stripe main dashboard, then copy these keys. So I'm going to copy the publishable key and the test key. So before we copy these, let's see what these variables are called. I'm going to go to the school and so let's see what exactly we have to name these environment variables. I'm going to go to school and copy this. So the first is next public Stripe publishable key. So I'm going to make this here. And the other one is the Stripe secret key. So I'm going to copy this here. So now let's go to the Stripe dashboard and copy each of these keys. The publishable keys go here. And the secret key go here. Now we have the environment variables configured. So let's go and make our checkout button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this part. Or maybe I'll just copy it one by one. I'm going to copy this. And I'll also have to install this. So what I'm going to do is copy this part and do npm install this and legacy. Now we'll have this ready. And now you can copy this command. It is a function which is going to let us go to our Stripe checkout page. So I'm going to go here and paste it here. And the next step would be to make a button here, which will be I'm going to name it by YT agent, and on click, I'm going to route it to this function. So now if we click the button, this function is going to run. And what this does is it's going to go to the API checkout. So what this function does is it's going to go to the API checkout route, and then we can use Stripe there. So we have added this file, so everything's working now. So let's see if our button is working. What I'm going to do is copy this checkout button and go to our main page. And at the top, I'm going to import button from components. And now what I'm going to do is I'll go and look at our SaaS. And here it says get started, right? So I'm going to go to get started. And this is the first button. And this is for which plan? This is for the basic plan, right? So I'm going to create the Pro plan, which is $29. So I'm going to go to the second one, the Pro plan. And for this button, I'm going to replace this with checkout button. And then I'm going to say, or maybe I'll just have to add it without the closing tag. So I'm just going to remove this part. So now let's see. Okay, so it says that it should be a client component. So what I'm going to do is go here and put use client at the top. So now it will be a client component. So let's go back and see. So now we have our SaaS here, and let's see. So you can see here, now we have a different button here. So we're going to use this to check out our Stripe payment. And so now we have our button ready. The next step would be to configure this API checkout route. So I'm going to go to API and make another folder called checkout. And that I'm going to call the route.ts. And the next step would be, so we're going to make the checkout route. So you can take the screenshot from here and copy this command. You can copy it and go here. So let's see what this code is doing. So we're using the Stripe secret key to make the Stripe client. Then we're using the post method to create the Stripe checkout session. So if you use this, you can keep everything the same, except you have to change the price ID. So let's see how you can do that. So I'm going to go to Stripe and I'm going to make a new product. So I'm in the test mode. I'll go to product catalog and I'll make another product, create a product, and I'm going to call it YT agent. And I'll say it's a one-time payment of $29. And I'll do add the product. Now you can see my product is added here. So what I'm going to do is open it. And so now I'll try to find the price ID. We have the product ID here, but let's see. So what I have to do is I'll open this. And then you can see here, we have a price ID here. So I'm going to copy this price ID and go back and paste it here. So now whenever we go to buy the product, this product will be bought. So let's try it. So what I'm going to do is go to our SaaS. Then I'm going to click buy YT agent. And now let's see what it does. And I'm going to click buy YT agent. Now I've filled all the information. Let's try to buy the product. So I'm going to click pay. And now you'll see it goes through. There's a green button and now it says payment successful and we are on our website. I haven't added other links. I can add the nav bar and stuff so people can navigate. But you can see we have bought the product. And at Stripe dashboard, you can see that I've bought it thrice at this point. So this is done. So the next thing we have to keep in mind is that now we can buy our product. So now buying the product works, but we haven't configured the webhook. So now we have set up everything for Stripe except the webhook. So what is the exact use of webhook in Stripe? So for example, when people buy the product, they have bought it, even we know it, but we haven't kept track of it in the database. So this webhook will help us keep track when they buy it, when they cancel the subscription, so we can revoke the access and grant the access. So now I'm going to zoom out so you can take the screenshot and I'm going to copy this code and go back to code and I'm going to make a webhook. I'm going to call it webhook and then I'll make the route.ts. Then I'm going to copy this here. So let's see if there is any issue. So now we have added the webhook. What this does is it listens for this event, specifically checkout session completed. You actually need more events. This is just to demonstrate how it's done. So when this event is triggered, which basically means the person has bought the product, what we're going to do is go to our database and update the has access as true. So whatever stuff is off limits to the unpaid user, now he can access it using this has access Boolean. So now we have added the Stripe payments and it's not completed yet because we haven't been listening to all the type of webhooks, but you can complete it and it's just the same thing. For example, if you want to listen to something else, for example, when the user cancels a subscription, you're just going to copy this and paste it here and change this word and change this logic. So if you wanted to make this webhook such that when a person cancels their subscription, so what you can do is copy this and paste it back again, change this webhook information. For example, you can remove this checkout session completed to the webhook that corresponds with the subscription has been removed. And then you just have to keep all of it same. And instead of data has access true, you just make it false. So when the person cancels the subscription, this goes away. And you can also add further code so you can track how much their subscription is for. For example, if it expires, they don't cancel it, it still goes away. So now let's head to the part where we add the n8n agent to our SaaS. So what I'm going to do is open our n8n agent, which is the YouTube deep research agent. So the next step would be to make this chat public, because then we can enter the information directly from our SaaS. So let's go to our main SaaS page where we're going to add the agent, which will be the dashboard page. So now we're in the dashboard. So the first thing you need here is an input box. So you can input what exactly do you want to search for the n8n agent. So I've already made a component for you guys, which is this chat input component. So I'm just going to copy this and go here. And in the components, I'm going to make chat input. And now I'm going to paste it here. So now let's look at what this chat input does. So we have this chat input in which there's a search button and we have an input section. Let's firstly add this to our dashboard page. I'm going to go to dashboard and import. Then I'm going to import. Let's see the function's name. It is called input with button. So I'm going to go and add input with button here. Then what I'm going to do is copy this and I'm going to add this here. And let's try to render this component. There you can see, now we have this chat and the button to send our message. So what I'm going to do is put it inside another div and just give it some spacing. There you go. Now it will go a bit below. The next thing you have to do is to configure our n8n agent to receive this input. So what I'm going to do is open this chat input and turn on make chat publicly available. Now you can see, and then I'm going to select embedded chat. So now you can see that we have this chat URL here. So what I'm going to do is go to the chat input and paste it here. For example, now you can see when this button is clicked with the information in it, this posts our stuff here. So let's try it. So I'm going to go to our agent. I'm going to make this workflow active and I'm going to go to the execution. Now you can see it's listening for the execution. So what I'm going to do is, so now we have our chat input ready. Let's enter any random thing. I'm just going to say best SaaS business. Now I'm going to click the send button and I'm going to go to the n8n and see if any action is triggered. Here you can see the webhook has received some information. Let's see what it got. Now you can see the agent was triggered. There was an API issue, but the main thing is to see our chat input. Here you can see we entered best SaaS business, and in the n8n agent, it got the topic as best SaaS business. So now the next thing is to go to our YouTube node and edit this node. So what I'll do is debug in editor. So now what I'm going to do is go to debug in editor. So now you can see this has our topic saved and I'm going to go into the YouTube node. And here from this, I'm going to remove this and add the topic here. So now whenever the agent is run, it's going to search for the same terms that we search here. And now we can save our agent. Now the only thing left is to show our videos here. So we're going to use the Airtable API for that. So what I'm going to do is, now we have added our n8n agent and configured the chat. The only thing remaining is to show our videos fetched from the Airtable database. So let's start by installing Airtable on our Next SaaS. What I'm going to do is go and copy this command and run this with legacy peer deps. Till this is running, I'm going to go into the community and copy these 3 environment variables. And then I'm going to paste it in .env. Then I need to get the Airtable API key, base ID, and table ID. So let's start by getting the Airtable API key. So what I'm going to do is go to Airtable and then click on the user icon, then click on Builder Hub. And then you can see I have the personal access tokens. I'm going to use the one I created earlier, and I'm going to copy this, the token ID, and then I'm going to go and paste it here. Then the next thing I need is the base ID. So now this is my base, the YT agent, and you can see that this was the first thing that loaded. So this one, the first thing, the app and the other words are the base ID, and this one is the table ID. As you can also see, it has TBL, which is kind of depictive of what it is. So I'm going to copy this and go to cursor and paste it here. And then I'm going to go to the table ID and copy it and paste it here. So we need the Airtable API key. This will help us connect to this Airtable API key is going to help us connect to the Airtable database. So now I'm going to copy this and and I'll make another folder in API, which is Airtable. And inside, I'm going to make the route.ts. Here you can see that it's going to use our base ID and table ID that we gave it and the Airtable API key for authorization. And it is going to fetch us our records. Then I have this page already wipe coded. You can copy it or you can just prompt it. So to wipe code this, what I did was I asked the AI agent that whatever this API is fetching, just make it look good and make all the information at a good form. So what I'm going to do is copy it now, and I'm going to make another page. So the other page would be Airtable. So what I'm going to do is go to app, and then I'm going to make Airtable page, Airtable, and then inside I'm going to make page.tsx, and I'm going to paste all of this here. And let's try this agent now. So what I'm going to do is go to our n8n agent. Let's go and enter AI agents. Click on send. And now you can see it's going to trigger an execution here. There you go. After about a few seconds, you can see this is running. And this is going to put all the data inside this Airtable database. And then we can click on Airtable to see our data. It's going to fetch all the information from Airtable. And now you can see it here. It gave us the best YouTube ideas and all the statistic, like ratio, view ratio, and we can make our own little database, add more features such as filters and stuff. And we can also sell this as a YouTube idea SaaS, and you can price it as much as $10 to $15 a month. And you can add more features such as thumbnail maker, and you can make an entire YouTube automation SaaS from this. So now let's go and look at our steps. So we have also added our n8n agent. So for one last time, let's see how our entire SaaS works together. So what I'm going to do is, so let's sign out and let's see how it works. So this is our SaaS. And if you click dashboard, you cannot access it because it's outside the bounds. So the authentication is working perfectly. And once you log in with your account, the data goes in the database, and now you're logged in. You can actually change stuff about your account, and now you can see the Stripe checkout is also working. And here you can buy our SaaS, and now I'll select pay. And now you can see it is working, and it's going to take us to the success page. We can modify this to make it look more beautiful as well. Then we can just go to the dashboard and enter any topic here, for example, AI SaaS. And now this is going to trigger a webhook in our n8n agent. Let's see. It takes about 5 seconds. Here you can see it started running already. Now, once this is completed, it's going to store all our data in this Airtable database. And now you can access all this from this Airtable link, and you can make it more beautiful. And now you see the best YouTube ideas that you can use for inspiration. And if you want all the files, I'll attach the entire project and GitHub in this n8n agent SaaS community. You can join the community if you want to learn how to use n8n like a pro. Get n8n blueprints, building SaaS and building mobile apps.